everyone. Again, my name is Aya, I use she, her pronouns, and I work with the Breach Collective. And as a lot of these presentations have shown, this work is incredibly hard. I have been working in the climate policy space for about 4 years now, and it is a battle. It is exhausting. And one benefit of a ballot initiative is that we can really take things into our own hands and we can expedite the speed at which we try and pass policy. So I'm really excited to be talking about how we can fight back at the ballot and how we plan on doing this in Eugene. But first, PSEF. How many folks in the room know what PSEF is? We got quite a few folks. So the Portland Clean Energy Community Benefits Initiative was a wildly popular initiative that was passed in 2018, which provides incredible amounts of funding to ensure the community climate action efforts are implemented and support social, economic, environmental benefits, and specifically, working to benefit frontline community members and communities of color. So the Portland Clean Energy Fund took 1% of the gross receipts from the biggest corporations in Portland, the billion-dollar corporations. And PSEF has banked hundreds of millions of dollars a year for climate justice, and as of February 2026, has allocated $1.7 billion into the community. It's an incredible thing that has generated more money for climate justice in a municipality that we know of in the world. So example projects, we're looking at energy efficient, affordable housing, habitat restoration, protected bikeways, repair cafes, clean transportation projects, and more. And this was also the first environmental initiative in Oregon led by communities of color. So we can, oh no, we can't see it. We can see the steering committee organizations here, and you may recognize some of the names. Oregon Physicians for Social Responsibility and Coalition of Communities of Color were organizations that helped steer this incredible groundbreaking initiative. So the big question is, why haven't we done this everywhere? Why haven't we done this in Eugene? Why haven't we done it all over the state? And the reason why is because a PSEF-style initiative was thought to be preempted by the Student Success Act of 2019. And I have some of the language up here. A city, county, district, or other political subdivision or municipal corporation of the state may not impose by ordinance or other law a tax upon the commercial activity of the or upon receipts from grocery sales. Oh boy, sorry. It's okay. We're gonna figure it out. So I think what is really important to highlight here is the term commercial activity. And our lawyer friends, legally minded friends can kind of dig into this more during question and answer if we'd like. But essentially, the way that commercial activity is defined in this context is the total amount realized by a person arising from transactions and activity in the regular course of a person's trade or business without deducting for expenses incurred by the trade or business. So that is a tax on gross receipts or tax on gross revenue. And this is actually a fairly specific, this is the problem, isn't it? This is actually a fairly specific preemption, right? One of the brilliant minds behind the Portland Clean Energy Fund came to us in Eugene and said, what if we just changed the taxing mechanism? What if we looked at putting the fee on gross profits instead? Gross profits are the gross receipts, which Portland placed their fee upon, minus the cost of goods sold. So, for example, if you buy a lawnmower from Walmart and it's $100, the gross receipts of that would be the $100 that the customer paid. But the gross profits, which we would be looking at using in Eugene, would be the cost of that lawnmower minus whatever Walmart paid for it. Maybe it's $30. So the amount that we would place the fee upon would be less. So the revenue generated would be less, but we would still be able to proceed with a PSEF style initiative in Eugene or anywhere else that might want to go after this. So this is allowing us to follow in Portland's footsteps. If you are interested in learning more about this, this is discussed in this publication by Green Energy Institute and Breach Collective. And we were able to get this legal pathway vetted by 2 of the state's top election attorneys. So we are really excited just to introduce and start talking about the Eugene Clean Energy Fund. So we filed the petition for this initiative just last month, and it will be, oh no. It will be a business license fee of 2% on the gross profits of the biggest corporations operating in Eugene. So we bumped the fee from 1% to 2% to try and make up for some of that difference that we see in the revenue that could be created. We also think that the big corporations might deserve to pay a little bit more at this point, a couple years later down the road. So this would apply to businesses earning over $1 billion nationally and $500,000 locally. This allows us to avoid placing the fee on any of our amazing local businesses. And it also avoids having the cost passed down to consumers because businesses that operate nationally, these big box stores, they set their prices nationally so that they can set their sales nationally. And so the beauty of this is it truly just affects those big billion-dollar corporations and not the everyday hardworking Eugene citizen. So this is slated for the November 2026 ballot, estimated to earn a floor of $15 million per year. And just thinking about what that could do for our community is so exciting. And the other great thing is that we see that the appetite for something like this is really there in Eugene right now. Our polling data showed that about 63% of Eugene voters would support this initiative if it was on the ballot today. And when I say today, but actually this polling is a little bit old, and so we think that this could be even more given how increasingly difficult the political climate has been. The Portland Clean Energy Fund was really strong in the amazing diverse coalition that they were able to form. We are trying to really follow in their footsteps in that regard. The steering committee for the Eugene Clean Energy Fund will include Breach Collective, Beyond Toxics, the Oregon Just Transition Alliance, and the Oregon Sierra Club. But we also have a number of amazing frontline community and frontline organizations and community-led organizations, as well as partnering with unions and strategic partners who have helped develop this campaign, and this coalition is growing. So I want to just pause for one moment to talk about our partnership with organized labor. So one of the things that we really wanted to make sure happened with this initiative is that not only were we talking to organized labor early, but we actually were having them help draft this initiative, because as we will see in a minute, some of this funding will go towards job training and apprenticeships, but we also wanted to make sure that worker protections were baked into this policy. So not only will it be generating climate revenue, but it'll also be creating good, clean jobs for folks here in Eugene. And so we were able to partner with some union leaders to make sure that this initiative would do just that. So here is where the funding will go. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but just so you can see, we kind of have rough allocations of where the funding would go, the majority going towards renewable energy and energy efficient programs, but also job training, as I mentioned, green infrastructure, and kind of a catch-all category for things that we hadn't thought of. Why this, why now? I don't know if we really have time to dig into this, but I will just say that the City of Eugene is wildly behind on its climate goals, just as we saw in Ashland. We have high aspirations and we have a long way to go. And this fund is, I think, one of the only ways we see as providing the opportunity to truly try and meet those goals. There is a loss of funding at the federal level, and this trickles down. And of course, the climate and affordability crises are already here, as we heard from our other speakers. And so the timing couldn't be better for an initiative like this that will help generate revenue to make sure that we are meeting those goals, that we are putting that money back into our community, creating jobs, and helping folks thrive. All right, how? Maybe I can talk more about this in question and answer, but essentially there are two ways that typically things get on a ballot. You can run a ballot initiative campaign, or a ballot, an issue can be referred to the ballot by our elected leaders. There are quite a number of reasons why we decided to go and get out and collect signatures. A big one being that the process of getting things referred through our elected leaders can be slow. Things can get watered down. Things can end up getting tabled endlessly, and wins like the amazing one we have in Ashland aren't very frequent. So we wanted to make sure that this was happening with the urgency that the climate crisis demands. We also wanted to make sure that the community was doing this together. By getting out and gathering signatures, we're going to be educating folks about this campaign. We're going to be building momentum and excitement and making sure people feel ownership over this campaign. So we have to gather 8,726 to qualify. We're going to try and get more than that. And I see the time that we have, so if I can get this this slide projector to work, I have some ways that folks can get involved or learn more about this campaign if you're interested.